Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Hitch Bike Rack's Destination 4 bike rack on our 2021 Ford Ranger. Now this is an excellent way, as you can see, of getting a multitude of bikes to the trailhead with you. Whether you got a tonneau cover or we don't use the back of our truck for bikes, this can be an excellent way of getting our entire family or friend group to the trailhead. Now taking a look, it kind of looks a little formidable, as you can kind of see, but we are getting a lot of contact points, so that's going to be great for us. Everything you see here is going to be extremely useful to making sure we have a nice smooth ride for our bikes. Taking a look, you can see we just have one of our standard bikes up on here. Now if you're looking at a way of getting carbon frame bikes to the trailhead with you, unfortunately this isn't going to be an option. While it is a platform rack, we are getting a middle contact on our frame throughout the entirety of our rack. So unfortunately today we are going to have frame contact, so that will end up deteriorating and warping those carbon frames. So if you're looking for an option for that, unfortunately this won't be great for us. However, with a 35-pound capacity rating per bike, we are going to get a multitude of different bikes up on here. And the reason for that, taking a look at these middle assemblies here, you can see it's going to be extremely versatile, as these can actually rotate entirely around this mass. Now the strap's going to be the only thing that kind of gives you a little trouble here, but as you can see, I can go ahead and I can rotate this however I need. So you can see we have our diagonal frame here, we have more of a horizontal frame, we're going to be clipping on just well with that, and we can again get pretty low here for our frames. So those women bikes, step-through bikes, and even Kiddos bikes are not going to have any trouble of making sure they have the appropriate attachment on here. So something I really like is actually how versatile this entire rack can get. And look at our end here too, you can see we do have just some little soft white reflectors on the back. I really like those. Hitch Racks always does a good job making sure they have little reflectors on their racks. I really like those, especially being all black. And you can see if you had a couple other bikes up on here with not so many great reflectors, we want to let people know behind us where we are, especially if we have those long days at the trailhead. We want to make sure the family and friends are getting home safe. So really like seeing that from them. Now the cradles themselves are kind of cool too. They are pretty adjustable here. On the end you can see that we just have to work this knob off like so. Going to take just a little bit of time to actually switch these over. But you know, if you had a friend that's bringing a new bike around, it's going to be nice if we can actually swap this around. So we only have two little attachment points, but still does end up helping us in the long run. You can see we had a shorter bike. We can go ahead and throw it in that guy. And so real easy to actually tighten these down too. Just this little hand knob, going to quickly actually tighten these down all the way to make sure that's nice and secure. And that way we can get a host of different bikes in here. So something I really like with that. Kind of a big thing with this guy is how versatile he is. We're still getting nice contact throughout each point of our bike. Well, let's go ahead and pop this guy off, see how easy that is to do. We're going to go ahead and start with this back ratchet. Now with these ratchet strips, they are very, very easy to use. We just simply throw them in. And one thing I like about them, we have this little eye hole. That's great, especially if we're cold and it's wet. We can just put a finger there and actually pull the way down. That way we're not having to pinch, you know, the hard rubber on the outside. And on the other end here too, pull this guy forward. You can see we just have this little soft kind of covering here. That's great to actually get on our wheel rims, as you can see. That way we don't cause any damage to those guys as we go down the road. Go ahead and throw that guy the way through and repeat our process on the other side, leaving our last contact point in the middle to make our dismount that much smoother for ourselves. Now that does bring us to our middle. Now I like having a good handhold on these guys, just making sure we're kind of looping through. That way we're not tilting into our vehicle, causing any damage to that or our bike. Go ahead and push that guy through like so and get him set off to the side. And then we can just come right in here and just walk our bike off like so. Now the only other gripe I have with this guy is how that center tower can be a little bit in the way. But as you saw, nothing too crazy to work around. I think just getting to the side of it makes it a little bit easier to make that dismount. Now one thing I do like about this guy though is how collapsible it is. So we can see this mast here. We just have a simple little lever arm that's actually holding it in. Again, we have another torque knob here. We're going to go ahead and just loosen that guy just a little bit. Going to expose that lever for ourselves, allowing us to pull that right out, setting him down to the side. And that actually allows us to go ahead and bring down the entirety of our mast, as you can see in here. Go ahead and move that onto the other side actually, guys. Like so. You can see we can actually get that nice and collapsed here. Now here you might see having to do a little bit of fidgeting with those kind of like cradles in the middle to get them to fit appropriately. And one thing I really like to do, guys, too, when I have it in this position, is just take this extra strap and just throw it right through here. make this nice and tight. That way, our mast isn't going to be popping up when we actually have it in this position. So, especially when we go ahead and bring this back in our put away function, that's going to help us to make sure that's nice and secure. Not going to be flailing around, not going to be hitting our tailgate as we go. Now, with any hitch mounted accessory, we are going to be adding a little bit of length to our vehicle, especially in the Ranger. It's a little bit long already. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at how much length we are actually adding. From the rear of our bumper to the very end of our vehicle, going to be right at about 42 inches. Let me go ahead and set that correctly. Yep. So about 42.5 inches to the rear of our reflector. Definitely a little bit of length being added, right? But we are getting 4 bikes on a nice stable platform. However, maybe we're at the trailhead or maybe we're trying to pull in the garage. That can definitely be adding a lot of length to our vehicle. We actually do have a way of shortening that down. On the inside here on this inner assembly, we just have this little pin and clip. But we want to go ahead and pull that clip out. Now this pin actually has a torque knob on the other side. We'll go ahead and break that down for you guys. But I'm just going to go ahead and start taking it counterclockwise to actually release those threads. And now a lot of times you start seeing this being a pin and clip system to make this assembly move. One reason I like that it actually is threaded, you're getting a lot of that play actually being resolved inside there. That threaded bolt doing a good job, making sure it all stays in line. Not going to be causing too much trouble for ourselves. And then we just have to reinsert it, like so, tightening it down. And one thing I do like too is this safety cable hanging here. I'm not having to like misplace this or hold on to it as I'm getting the mast set up. Just simply walk up and start tightening it down. So this is going to really reduce the play too when it's in this position. So we're not going to be worried about it hitting our vehicle, rattling, causing any kind of damage. So I really do like how quick and easy that is. Definitely not as quick and easy as you might see on some of the more premium carriers. However, still very, very nice to use on the Hollywood racks. Well, as you can see, taking a lot of that play out, doing a good job of not tilting in the vehicle at all. Again, that strap doing a good job of holding those masts out so they're not making contact with our tailgate. Let's go ahead and see how much space we saved down. And on the back here, it's going to be right under 16 inches, so about 15 and 7/8 or so, maybe just underneath that. So definitely reducing a lot of that length, almost already 30 inches being shaved down. Now, hopefully we can get this in the garage, and especially with the trailhead, or maybe at one of those parking slots, we might have a little bit easier time getting in those tight parking places. So really like seeing that maneuverability. One thing I did want to check real quick, though, guys, is if we can actually get that tailgate open. So let me go ahead, pop this guy over real quick, just to see how much clearance we are actually getting with our tailgate. Now, we might have a little bit of contact here, but let's go ahead and get a quick little look. Again, that safety cable doing a good job of holding itself. So in its standing position, let's go ahead and see how this tailgate does when we open it up. Now, I think, like I said, I think we are going to get just a little bit of contact here. Yep, right on our mast at the very end of our tailgate. So I definitely wouldn't be putting any weight on here, and I'd definitely be walking it down if we were to utilize it in this position. However, now, though, you can imagine, got a really heavy cooler. I can come in here, instead of having to go over my sidewall, now I could probably get it over to this side, and then I would, again, really take that weight off. We don't want to put any kind of damage to our rack, or especially the paint on our tailgate. However, now I can still get just a little bit more range of motion on the inside here. Going to really be helpful in the long run. So, kind of stinks that we can't get that full range, as I mentioned, and it's definitely something I'd be conscious of dropping that tailgate. But still nice that we can just get a little bit more maneuverability with this rack and with our truck as well. So, go ahead and throw this guy in real quick here. Now, another important dimension to keep in mind is our clearance on our vehicle, however. So, as those front wheels go up, the back will go down. So we definitely want to be conscious of how much clearance we actually have on the back end here. And I don't know why I put that clip in, so we're about to show that again. But let's go ahead and take a look at this assembly and its put-away feature here. We can go ahead and see right to the end of that corner. Going to be right at 23 inches. So you can see that rise in the shank, doing a good job, making sure we're well enough out of the way. And let's go ahead and take a quick look of when it is in its normal carrying procedure here. Giving you guys a real quick show of how easy this knob is to actually use. So you can see, not taking me any time at all to make sure this is in the right position I want it into. And it looks like our furthest point to the ground is actually on the sides here where our wings kind of dip a little bit. So we'll go ahead and take a quick look there, and right above 28.5 inches. So about 28 5/8 right there. As you can see, going to be well enough out of the way. Don't think we're going to have any issues with these guys. However, if you had a very steep driveway, it'd just be something to keep conscious of. Or if you're doing any kind of crazy off-roading, probably something I would look out for. Now on the end here too, you can see we do have a 2-inch hitch receiver. So it's going to be great for our 2-inch hitches, obviously. And today we've gone ahead and thrown on an etrailer hitch pin alignment collar. Now this is sold separately. However, I really recommend it, especially for some of these bigger carriers, because all we have to do, throw this collar on here, and once we got our pin aligned, we can actually go ahead and make sure that's right in the right spot on the receiver. Next time I walk this in, it's going to go ahead and stop itself, and I can put that pin right into place with no trouble at all. So a lot less time on my hands and my knees. Just makes those Saturday mornings that much quicker to get going. Now, talking about pins, we do have a threaded anti-rattle hitch bolt here. Now, they're pretty standard across the industry, but basically, it's going to thread itself into our hitch and into our receiver. And as you can see, as I shake this, it can be shaking the entirety of the vehicle. So, bringing it all into one system, that's going to be nice for ourselves as we drive, making it nice and smooth. But it's really going to take the play out of our rack. And anything we can do to take the play out of our rack is really going to help make sure our bikes stay on here nice and with no kind of damage or anything like that. So anything we can do to reduce that play, really going to help us. Now on the end here, we do have a locking core to actually hold our rack to our vehicle. Now, the only unfortunate thing I think with the Destination is you aren't getting a lot of security measures here. Now, as you probably noticed, we don't have any kind of locking cores or locking cables for our actual bikes, so that's definitely something I would recommend. Yes, we are getting it secured to our vehicle. However, we want to make sure our bikes are also staying secure to our rack, especially if we're doing some long hauls and you're stopping out at gas stations and whatnot, having a lot of time of actually leaving the bikes on there. It might be something that I would start looking into and something I would definitely recommend. Go ahead and throw this guy in here real quick, just to get him in place. Well, I think the Destination does an excellent job for what you want it. You know, you're only getting up to about 35 pounds capacity on here, so it's not going to be too crazy. And especially because you do have those middle contacts, unfortunately, we're not able to get those carbon frames. But, you know, if you're a family that's just starting to look out, really starting to want to get everybody up to the trailhead with you, I think it's an excellent buy. I think, you know, you're really going to get a lot of use out of it, and it's very, very versatile as well. So you can start mixing those friend pools, getting a lot of people up to the trailhead with you with no trouble at all. And I think it's really easy to use. I think it's a little formidable, but once you start getting a lot of time with it, you'll know how to use it in no time. Well, I think that about does it for a look at the Hitch Destination Bike Rack for 4 bikes on our 2021 Ford Ranger. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.
Now we're going to go ahead and take it on our test course. First we'll start with the Slaloms. This is going to show the side-to-side action. It's kind of going to mimic the movements that you'll see whenever you're driving down the road normally. Now we'll have the alternating speed bumps. This is going to be more so like the uneven roads and some of that uneven terrain you might be traveling on, and see how it holds up.